death be not proud.
So I just want you to take a look behind me. This is the new economy when you don't raise men. You're on a 6-month waiting list for the roof to get leaked. This is what happens when you allow single mothers, social workers, and teachers to raise men. You got to bring dad back into the family because you're on a 6-month waiting list to get your roof fixed, and this has been going on for 5 fucking years. 5 years, no roof repair. Get used to the new economy. You're going to be on a 2-week waiting list to get your brakes fixed and your oil changed because there aren't any men in the trades because you got social workers telling men it's okay that they have autism. Collect your $670 a month, you fucking welfare sponge. So as you can see, that I'm making this video is kind of like a public service announcement because it's been 5 years and the gym I go to can't get the roof fixed. It seems like every time it rains hard or every time it snows, they're having problems fixing the leaky roof. They can't fix the leaky roof at the gym. And I go over to the kid working the counter. He's 16 years old, and I ask him some hard questions. Like, number one, how many managers does this place have, and how many staff does this place have? That's number 2. All right, so he says, I can check for you real quick. He goes into the office. Granted, he's like the only one there. They got one 16-year-old kid running the joint. Okay, so from an accounting perspective, that's fine. You have one person on staff there on Sunday running the place. He goes in, he tells me 18. I said, how many of those people are trainers? And he's going to say like 6 of them, he said. So 6 trainers, they don't do anything. Personal trainer is not a real job, mind you. And I said, you got the soy boy manager, the guy who looks like Wojak with the beard and thinning hair and soy belly. He's a manager, right? And he says, yeah. And they're like, what is Vinny up to? And he's like, I don't know. So I asked, was like, how hard is it to take all the machines that are on that wall that are just because they have a power strip where all the machines are? How hard is it to just move the treadmills to one power strip over and then move all the stationary bikes back? None of the stationary shit needs power. So you got a full power strip there that you can use to hook up the treadmills and get them out of the water. All right? You can move the treadmills forward 1 row and get them out of the fucking water. So you got caution tape taken up. I'm going to say 8 treadmills are out of commission because there's water. All right, you can't get a staffer, 2 staffers to just start moving machines one at a time. You'd be done in like an hour. Oh, you need an electrician is what it's coming to. You need an electrician to fucking plug shit in now. That's probably what it is. It's unsafe for 2 employees, just normal employees, to do a necessary function. Move the machines from this row to that row. And take the machines that don't require a power source because they either have their own power source or they're battery powered and put them on the back row to get rained on. Not to mention, the stationary climbing machines have been broken for, I want to say, 3 weeks now. 3 weeks, you can't buy the new belt. So you have a ring there. The belts wore out and they don't have replacement belts for the stationary climber. You clip the belt on, you go up the climber, and that powers the machine. Those machines do not require power either. But they won't move them away from the leaky roof. They won't move anything. I mean, it's like, it's fucking retarded. Sure, you have to bolt the machines down, but I'm sure up front, there are some places where you can bolt those machines down and move them to a better spot. So I got thinking, you know, you just got like basically, we're coming up on 20 years of boys raised by single mothers, teachers, and social workers. You know, and you're told that you have to go to college. You don't have to go to college to move machines from one row to another. You know, and go 100 grand in debt to get a degree in, like, what do people major in? Communications, political science, journalism, some other equally useless liberal arts education bullshit. You know, all because Tina from Reseda said you have to go to college in order to get a job. And, you know, she got her degree in fluffy bunny studies. So we have all these social workers and they can't even move the machines over, you know.
Personal trainers, they're not going to do anything. They're not paid for that. Let me tell you how big of a loser this personal trainer is that comes in where I work out. This motherfucker, he's stacked, ripped, looks the part at least. He looks the part. Amateur bodybuilder, because you're not a because a professional bodybuilder would not be a personal trainer. And why wouldn't he be a personal trainer? Because he's busy making money on, I don't know, maybe being an influencer, or he's being sent money by his sponsors, and he's in the gym 24/7. This guy gets there at 5:30 in the fucking morning. 5:30 in the morning. I come in on Tuesdays to run at about 5:30. I leave at about 6:10. You know, when I'm done doing all my BS, I go to work. I'm gone 9 hours. 9 hours, I come back. That motherfucker is still there. That is like the biggest loser. Personal trainer is the biggest loser job. Working at the gym or the strip mall is the biggest loser job I can think of. You're shitting me. So that tells me he's only getting paid when he's got a client with him. So he takes his client, they go over there, they fuck off and do whatever, and he's only getting paid when he's got that one client with him. Now granted, I don't know how much he's being paid when he's got the client with him, but I know it's not enough that he's got to be there for 14 hours. 14 hours. You got one dude just basically going back and forth, texting, chatting up women, not really producing anything for the fucking company. You know, and this has affected, this like kind of mentality has affected all kinds of manufacturing too. So I was unstrapping my truck and I catch the mechanic one day, because this is back when I had a different job. I was just unstrapping my truck. I've got a 53-foot flatbed that I got to get ready to get under the crane. I got to back it underneath the crane, and I asked him, "Why are you cutting the rebar with a torch? Why isn't like Jorge, who's running one of the machines or really not doing anything of note except sweeping up? Why isn't Jorge the sweeper cutting the fucking rebar into? I think they want 5-foot sections of rebar so that they can pack it up tight, and that's easier for them to recycle and melt. I don't know what the understanding between 5-foot sections, because it all goes into the pot. It all goes into the pot. So cutting it up into 5-foot sections. How about 12-foot sections? That way I can get 2 straps around the pieces of shit. But why isn't Jorge cutting the rebar? Well, nobody's qualified to operate the torch. And I looked at him like, are you the fucking dumbass telling me that there's no one fucking, hold on, I rage broke for a second. Just think about that. There's no one qualified to operate a cutting torch. It'll take 5 minutes to show someone how to use an acetylene torch. You crank. Oh, si, que pasa? Crank. Crank. The other dial, crank. Lefty loosey for the gas, righty tighty. You operate the trigger, comprendo. Wait a minute, you can pantomime it. How big of a fucking loser are you, you fucking dumbass mechanic that won't even, and he is a dumbass, the guy was a dumbass, don't get me wrong. The moment he told me there's no one qualified to operate an acetylene torch, that automatically relegates that one mechanic who fixes the machines around there and the trailers for the yard, because they had their own trailers but they didn't have any trucks, and that's why we were there. It takes 5 minutes to run an acetylene torch, all right? You put on some safety glasses, you wait for the rebar to drop off, and you just cut it off in lengths just equal to the next one, all right? It takes 5 minutes. And you can show somebody how to do that job in pantomime. In pantomime. It's like, oh, the migrants are coming in and they're taking all the good jobs in fast food. You know, you never hear any brain surgeons saying, goddamn Guatemalans coming in here taking all the good neurosurgery jobs. Am I right, Anderson? Yeah, no, they're coming in and you're not even showing them butter the sauce, move the sandwich down to the end of the line. You can't even show them how to do that. That's the same thing with the cutting torch. And so I got thinking here, you know, once we're fully at 3 generations of men who have just been raised to be dudes, that you know, their dads are fucking useless. If your dad is a Gen Zer or your dad's a millennial, chances are your dad's a piece of shit too. And he's not showing you the things you need to know. You know, so you graduate high school and you're just a blank slate dude. You have no skills. Yeah, and even if you do go to college, to give you an idea of how dumb these people are, they gotta take 3 semesters. The average person has to take 3 semesters in the United States of remedial math just to get into Math 1010. Alright, so it's not like college is helping. It's not like high school has failed. You're basically passing people at that point. If you can't get them into a specialized class to help them learn the math that they need to be in Math 1010, maybe you ought to show that guy the trades. Or show him how the acetylene torch works. Because it's coming down to this. You know, women bitch. You know, there's only 2 things that women do good. Spend men's money and bitch. And they never really work. I try to like dumb down and qualify what female jobs are. They never work unless they're sweeping up something or cleaning a surface. All right, I go to my company, I see what the girls do for like they're in charge of my safety. They've never been underground. They've never worked a day in the job in their entire life, but they're in charge of safety. They're in charge of my safety. So they go around with clipboards, and they're like, oh, you weren't wearing your hard hat. We're going to put a point against you on your review. You weren't wearing your hard hat again. We're going to put a point against you on your review. All right? And then you get 3 points and it's a write-up. All right. But that's what they're paid. They are literally paid $30 an hour to do that job. You're fucking kidding me, right? $30 an hour to drive from job to job or follow a driver around with a clipboard. You know how much GDP per capita we're losing and how much money the company's losing paying women to do bullshit jobs? Meanwhile, you got the mechanic saying there's no one qualified to learn how to run the acetylene torch. Really, it's a 5-minute process. And then you could go back to creating GDP. You can go back and fix the crane that's broken. I mean, I tell you, that factory I was working at with the rebar, 1 crane, operational outside. You have 2 cranes that you can use. He never got up and rented a cherry picker to go fix the other crane. Then we could have had 2 cranes growing. They had 1 crane operator for outside. It's not that hard to train. These are stationary cranes that are controlled like a Super Nintendo. It's not that hard to teach somebody how to pick up a bundle off of a flatbed and go dot 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 over into that pile. And then pick up this bundle and go dot 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 over into that pile. And this is going to start to affect things. It's leaky roofs for now. Yeah, I can live with the leaky roof at the gym because I don't live at the gym. But I can't live with the leaky roof at my house. If my roof started to leak, my HOA's got to do an assessment. That's going to be another $9,000, please. And then they have to hire somebody to fix the roofs, and the roofs have got to get fixed. And then, seeing as how we're fixing the roof, we might as well install solar panels while we're fixing the roof so that we can save a little bit of money, but we would never be that smart. And it's just like, okay, so you start with the leaky roof. Women bitches. Guy can't fix it because he's just a dude, and even if he could fix it, he might not be able to get the tacking oil necessary to fix it, because basically you tar the roof. All right, so because there's a trucker shortage, or you know, I mean, I never thought I'd see the day where you have fucking Democrats crossing the aisle to join with Republicans, forcing railroad workers to work. They gave the railroad workers a choice in this country. You either work or go to jail. Work or go to jail. And if it had been me, I would have quit my fucking job and be like, I guess I'm going to jail because I'm too fat, dumb, and stupid to do anything else. You might as well put me on the dole. I would have gone to jail. Put me on the dole. Put 106,000 rail workers into jail. And if you're a rail worker and you're watching this video, quit your fucking job. Quit your fucking job, you fucking moron. Go get a job at Amazon, because with the way things are working, that's everybody. That's gonna be everybody's mainstay job when they're not delivering Uber Eats or pizzas. All right, and this will affect pizza. This will affect everything. But it starts with the leaky roofs, and it goes to, let's say, your toilet's busted. Your wife bitches. Well, you're on a 2-week waiting list to get your toilet fixed. Maybe your landlord is on a 6-week waiting list to get 6 toilets fixed all at once. So you've got backed up shit in an apartment complex because you can't get any plumbers. That's where this leads. That's where this perpetual, women raising men road leads, all right? And without dads to keep men in line, women are just doing so good at raising men these days. Oh, my son has autism. He's oppressed because he has autism. And then he goes over to the teen of the social worker. Oh my God, you poor thing, you and your autism. What can we do for you? Well, I have a touch of the tisms, Mrs. Tina from Reseda. Yeah, and you can't prove that I don't have the tisms, so you're going to have to give me welfare. So you're giving men welfare. Granted, it's not a lot of welfare, so if he just delivers pizza part-time during the week, he delivers pizzas 2 days and gets $670 at the end of the month and lives with his mother or lives with his parents, all right? He never has to do anything. He can literally live on piss and shit all the way into his 40s, be 300 pounds, and not contribute anything to society. So the toilet's busted. Now the power's going out. We're having rolling blackouts because no one's mining coal. We think that solar and wind is going to solve all our problems. And I got another thing coming for you. That's a load of horse shit. That is a load of horse shit. There's a reason why the mine out west of where I live has its own power plant. It has its own power plant. And you know what they're burning in that power plant to run the smelter? Coal, you motherfuckers! All right? And so they have to have their own power source to run the strip line to bring the material to bring the material from the mine. That line, those lines on the conveyor belts, they run for miles up one side of the mountain down to the smelter. All right, just to get things from and that one power plant that for the mine personally does all of that. They're not using wind. They're not using solar. You know why? Because that shit don't work. All right. Right now it's over. Right now it's a little bit sunny. You might be able to charge enough to power your water heater or something. But that shit doesn't work. So now you got broken toilet. Now you have no fucking power. All right. Women are still bitching about how we need equality in the workplace, but they're not the ones building anything. Every brick that you see, every fucking sidewalk that you fucking see, every power line, water line, sewer line, irrigation line, not to mention gas line, all put there and maintained by men. And I just want to know when's it gonna break? When is New York City gonna break and break for good? That they only have power, let's say, 6 hours out of the day. Manhattan proper has power for 6 hours out of the day because they're sitting there with the city on top of a city on top of the current city, and they've got miles of tunnels through that city. All right? When is it gonna break? Because there's no tradesmen. I want to get my car fixed. I have a few issues with my Camry that I got to send it in to get fixed. My best friend's shop, it's booked way the fuck out. If they're lucky, they get Tuesdays to work on friendly vehicles for their friends or something like that. I'm on a waiting list to get my Camry fixed, essentially, unless I send it into the dealership and eat all that cost up front, and they're like, oh, well, we need this and that, and they probably don't even have the parts because my Camry is 20 years old. So I've been driving my truck. That's why I bought the truck. But that aside, let's say you got no power, you got no sewage in the apartment that you're living in, everybody's on a waiting list, and now your car breaks down. What are you going to do, ride share to work every single day? Well, that costs a lot of money. That probably costs more than what you're paying in fuel. So now your car is busted, and you're on a 6-week waiting list because there are no mechanics. There are no fucking mechanics. And I'm just asking you, when are these women going to step the fuck up with their social sciences and solve our actual problems? When are women going to step up and solve our problems? Because they're the ones who are doing all the work, right? We got equality in the workplace. Oh, but they're not working in the thing that produces the thing. All right? Nobody's creating GDP per capita. if you're following me here, you know. So it's like, oh, you're a social worker, congratulations, wow, got a degree in psychology, wow. Are you a doctor? Did you go to med school? Oh, it says PhD in psychology, not psychiatry. Wow, the not the what to temo kashkoi bakada. Fucking idiots. So, you know, when we're sitting there walking in our human shit, or if you're lucky you have a backyard and you can keep digging up the flower beds and shitting in a hole every time you need to take a shit, or when your car is broken, or you have no power, where's it going to come from? You can't, the government cannot pay people to sit there on their asses, and that's what, that whole fucking lockdown thing was a test run for UBI. It put more people on the dole. You got more people not willing to work. It really fucked the economy when you think about it, because it proved a lot of people right. If you give people money not to work, that's exactly what they're not gonna do. Work. All right? And this goes far beyond getting pizzas delivered. I'm talking about physical GDP. Who's gonna create the stuff that we need for every single day life? Who's going to get the oil from the oil rig? Who's going to drive it to the refinery? Are we building the pipelines? No. Because we keep fucking over our own domestic oil companies. As hard as Obama, I mean, and he's a shitty president, as hard as he kicked the coal companies in the balls, Biden's doing the exact same thing to our own domestic oil companies. And then he's walking over to Saudi Arabia, cap in hand, going, we need some oil. We need some oil. You know, oh, you can't give oil to Russia. We'll sanction you. How dare you? And none of the Eurotrash fucking sanctions against Russia have worked. None of the and I really hope that the winter gets very cold. And I'm talking like your average high for the day is going to be about 30 degrees. Very cold. Very cold. Have fun freezing to death, you assholes, because I look at like I look at the dude factory that the UK is. Oh, we've got all these migrants, and you're giving welfare to these people, these Ramadan motherfuckers, who have no right to be there. They're 8% of your fucking population in the UK, and they're not producing any stuff.
Money!
It's not like Aston Martin went from having 5,000 employees to 40,000 employees and solving an actual fucking problem in the country by making products that you need. Like, what's something that you need? Recycled metal or something like that. Oh yeah, they own that plant, and it's got about 1,000 employees over there where they're recycling their own metal. And some of that metal is actually coming back, and we're able to put it into batteries. You know, so who's making your stuff in that country? I mean, you sell financial services and you export autistic 40K videos. That's literally all you do. And you brought in all these people who have no right to be there, and then you're told you can't vote for your own political self-interests, and you're wondering, well, why we're having rolling blackouts? Why does your country suck? Why does California suck? And so it's just coming to a header. You know, just simple, dumb, tiny-minded shit. I can't move those machines. I'll get in trouble. That's what the kid told me. You know? I mean, Monday, nothing's going to change. They're going to have all the fucking buckets and towels out. The roof at that gym is going to be leaky as fuck. And I guarantee you, they're on a waiting list again until March, because that's what the manager told me. And that's how it's been for 5 years. 5 years, that gym can't get the roof fixed. So, that's just all I really wanted to say, is who's going to make the stuff? You know, are the social workers going to come out and make stuff? Or are the social workers going to put brakes in my car? Are they going to cut the rebar? I mean, and this is also proof. Like, you look at the UK and the way California has gone, they've imported so much of the fucking third world that they themselves are actually going to a second world standard of living. Oh, well, as long as I can go to the pub and watch the footy, I guess that's all I care about. I've got my bread and circuses. And as long as you're in California, as long as it doesn't affect the people in the gated communities, I guess everything's just dandy. And you can go on and give Ahmed, Ramud, Mohammed, and his brother Mohammed welfare checks to come to your country and not work. They're supposed to pay your taxes for the Ponzi scheme. But, you know, this, not being able to move machines or cut rebar and dumb, tiny-minded shit, I don't even know what to say anymore. I don't even know what to say anymore. Clearly, public schools ran by females and social workers have failed. The model that you have put in has failed. You've made everybody stupid. You know, like I said, three fucking semesters of remedial math just to get into Math 1010. And even when they do graduate, it's not like they're becoming fucking engineers and astronauts. You know, it's like when you're looking at single mother dating profiles and she says, "I'm a mother of 3 amazing children, and my oldest daughter's reading at grade level." Oh, really? Wow, that's the standard these days. Are any of your kids Mae Jemison, the astronaut, or do any of them have a degree in engineering? No. That one smells like boogers. That one's overweight, and she's going to be a cam whore in 2 years. Yeah, you've done us such a good service. I hope the child support that you're getting from dad is worth it, as you lied to them to tell them how bad their dad is because you wanted to go jump back up on the cock carousel. And that's really all I have to say. You know, sooner or later, the first world is going to go to the second world because nobody's making the stuff. All right? And guys like me, I'm going to the second world. I'm going to go to Thailand, or I'm going to go to Japan. And that's another, just bringing up Japan real quick. A buddy of mine told me that the age of the average farmer in Japan is 55. Who's going to grow your food? You know? And Japan's like a hard-nosed country. They have a lot of manufacturing. They can still make things. Melt steel, fix ships. Not to mention make cars. That's something the UK can't even do for itself anymore because they've exported all the jobs out of Europe for like carbon emissions. Because, you know, I mean, they've got socialism there, and we can bring in these Muslims to work all the menial jobs and pay all the taxes we need so that we can sit there and live fat on the hog, take 33 days off a year, and never run out of jammy Dodgers, Lipton, and toast. You know, and I'm sure there are some people across the pond that'll agree with me. It's not working. And if your power's going out, I'd like to know about it. My power's not going out yet because we still have, there's one coal plant on the west side that they didn't shut down. We have that coal plant. And there's a couple down in what is that? Schwab County. You know, there's a couple coal plants out there. There's another coal plant in Beaver, you know, but not to mention you got all the coal plants on 80. You're either going to build power plants, real ones like nuclear ones and coal ones, or you're just not going to have anything. And so expect this to get worse, you know, and yeah, I really do blame this whole like, women are equal to men, we got to have women in the workforce, but what are they doing? What are women in the workforce doing other than Mae Jemison, the astronaut, you know? What are they actually doing? They're not doing anything. They're not putting the stuff out there. They're not maintaining the power lines. It's always dudes maintaining the power lines. And that's really all I gotta say. I'm just an angry fucking rant today. And we'll see you in the next one.
End my pain!
Abracadabra. Ah! Eat shit.
Even you, puppy dog. Hey, you need to grow a sack!